I'm here with the 2024 updated Subaru Solterra. This one's the Touring, coming in at like $54,000 or so. Today I'm going to tell you if the updates are worth the price of admission, and the answer is going to surprise you. Let's get into it. Believe it or not, this is the first time I've driven the Subaru Solterra. I've driven the other eTNGA derivatives, which Toyota BZ4X, as well as the Lexus RZ450e. Those are all built in the Motomachi plant in Japan alongside this Subaru Solterra. Some differences with the front end here. Well, we actually have kind of an elaborate black glossy grille. Obviously the Subaru badge is totally different than with the Toyota. I think the Toyota badge is actually up here if I remember right. I actually got mistaken for a Mustang Mach-E because of the grille. And this also has foggies. We got fog lights here. Of course, there's not going to be a frunk, but the headlights, to my knowledge, look to be exactly the same as the BZ4X, kind of with like the jewel eye. Well, that's an accurate term, but these are almost like Lexus-like. You have 3 smaller beams and 1 larger beam. Very, very impressive, very premium looking lights, but those are available also on the base grade. So we have 20-inch wheels here. You can get this with smaller wheels on the base grade, and that's going to get you better range. I'll talk about range here in a little bit. We have matte black cladding here. The BZ4X, which is essentially the carbon copy of this, has glossy black accents. This being a Subaru, a little bit more off-roady focused. It's going to have more scratch resistant matte black garnishes here on the vehicle. But you get to the top, you get the blacked out roof and the blacked out windows. This has the pano roof on it as well. I come to the rear, looks pretty much just like a BZ4X, and we have Subaru. Well, they had to put it twice. I just realized that. But you do have the symmetrical all-wheel drive. It's the exact same setup that we see in the Toyota. So I think it's around 108 horsepower on each axle, 1 in the front, 1 in the rear, and up to about 248, 249 pound-feet of torque. Now, this is a little cheesy to me. This is fine, right? That's the car's name, Touring. That's the trim. EV, do we really need those EV badges? I think it's too much virtue signaling. For me, I would be taking these off if I was getting this vehicle. And for 2024, they did update the charging, but now they're saying it can charge faster. So now your average rate is going to be much, much higher compared to previous, or the 2023 model year with the 2024 model year. They're saying 10 to 80% as quick as 35 minutes. So that's best case scenario with the right temperatures. If it's cold outside, I mean, your range is going to go down. Your battery charging rate is going to go down as well. But also, since this is a Touring, we have the more fancy rear spoiler here that's supposed to help with aerodynamics. On top of this additional spoiler down here, opening this up, tonneau cover here, rubber floor mat. I do like that. You cannot get the Harman Kardon on the Toyota. In fact, that's a JBL, but I think this Harman Kardon actually sounds better, even though they're made in the same factory. The BZ4X and this Solterra. Let me know down below, what is a better name, BZ4X and Solterra? To me, BZ4X is a terrible name and Solterra is a good name. It's a very good name. All right, the back here, this is one of the things you're gonna have to live with if you get the Solterra or the BZ4X, just gobs of glossy black piano reflective fingerprint attached, dust inducing plastic back here. Anyways, this rear, we have perforated seats in the back. The kids actually had a ton of space back here. They love being back here. Look at this nearly flat floor, tons of legroom. You have heated upboard seats here. We also have nice vents. They are pretty low though. They're almost like knee heaters. I wish these vents were higher. And USB-Cs back here, mat pocket on each side. You can see that beautiful panel roof. Beautiful back seat. You can fold the seats down. Very, very functional. The only thing that would maybe improve upon this is sunshades back here. And I don't remember if the Lexus RZ does that either. Also new for 2024 is this squared off steering wheel. We'll talk more about that when we start driving. This is all about the same. Of course, a Harman Kardon speaker here. These seats are very, very comfy. And let's go ahead and get on the inside. This is all going to be the same as, I'm going to turn the climate control on. This is all going to be the same as previous model years. This is kind of the same screen we have on the Prius. And it eliminates the need for a head-up display. A lot of people say that the steering wheel might come into the visibility. Well, that's definitely not the case with the squared off steering wheel. They've kind of reduced the amount that could cut into your view, but for me, it never cut into my view anyways. Also new for 2024, we have regen paddle shifters. I'll talk more about that when I'm driving. And then you have this eyeball sensor, which drives me crazy. This is a proactive driving traffic jam assist sensor that we see in other Toyota, Lexus models. Drives me bonkers, okay? And you can probably avoid that if you don't get this touring model. This is the same, the 12-inch screen, heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel. One of the things that they didn't add for 2024, they gave us paddle shifters, which I don't think anyone was asking for, but they didn't give us a volume knob. It's still a push button. So you either just have to hold volume up the whole time, or hold volume up the whole time here, or press it a million times and feeling like it's just a very frustrating experience. Lots of glossy black down here. Here is your one-ish pedal driving. It won't bring the vehicle to the stop, but it's the same as Regen 4 here on the paddles, if I remember correctly. I want to say the Lexus RZ had these paddles, but you also have parking assistant technology here, 360 camera. Well, let's just put it in reverse because, yeah, you can see that lady. I don't know, Toyotas haven't updated, and I'm going to call this a Toyota. It's essentially a Toyota. They haven't updated this 360 camera. When you want to pull up the camera, it gives you this long and drawn out 360 view of the car. No, you just have to put it in reverse, and that's how you do it, okay? So there's the workaround there. Auto brake hold, you have to reapply every time you start the car back up. This model does not have the ventilation, or should I say the radiant heat that comes down from the dash. And I say dash because this is not a glove box. There is no glove box in here, like the BZ4X, like the Lexus RZ. Same materials as the BZ4X here. The only storage is right inside here. And you can see that this car is optioned out to $54,558. We'll talk more about that and how it's definitely not worth the price, but there are some loopholes to get this car for a screaming dealio. Wireless charger, it is pretty much worthless in here for my phone. So that's kind of par for course with Toyota wireless chargers. USB-A in there. If you wanted to do wired Android Auto, this is set up wirelessly right now, but you can close this, and this is a twist to shift sort of situation here. Oh, also you have X mode, which Subaru brought in here. So you have X mode dirt, deep snow, mud, and I just turned it off. So snow and dirt are the same, and then deep snow and mud are the same. I am not going to play with that at all. I'm not going off-road. I'm just going to be on the streets where 99.9% of people are going to be taking their Subaru Solterra. Down below we have some additional storage, felt lined. Also, this is felt lined up here. Forgot to mention that. So that's great. That's more of a luxury feature. 2 USB-Cs down here and a 120 watt 12 volt accessory. All right, with that being said, I'm ready to start driving the Subaru Solterra, and I'm going to tell you, we have memory seats, by the way, I'm going to tell you if it's a good EV or not. At the time of this recording, it is not smart to purchase any EV. And I mean by like financing or paying cash for it, because their values plummet. Leasing is the way to go, and that's especially the case here in this BZ4X Subaru Solterra. Both of those models, whether you're visiting a Toyota or Subaru dealership, both of them have really good lease deals. At the time of this recording, you get a 3-year, 36-month lease, 10,000 miles a year, 10,000 miles per year for about $329 a month, 0 down. That is for the base trim, not this touring trim with the fancy digital rearview mirror that I didn't even mention. So keep that in mind. But I wouldn't want to spend this much money on this car with its limitations. Due to its, even though the charging is improved, it's still not nearly as good as the competitors, let's say like the eGMP platform from Hyundai and Kia, or Genesis for that matter, and the range. So let's talk about efficiency. So I'm stopped here at this light. In town with no AC running, I see as high as 4.5 miles per kilowatt hour. That's here in warm, flat Florida. And if best case scenario, you're getting 288 miles of range with that sort of efficiency. Now that's just in town. I also took this on the highway and saw about 3.4 miles per kilowatt hour, which gets you about to 218 or 217 miles of range. Now this has a 72 kilowatt hour battery. It's not all usable. That's just the total. The usable battery is around 64 kilowatt hours, so there's a really big buffer here for Toyota and Subaru. They want their batteries to last a really long time. That's when this came out. The charging was really, really limited. Now it's been beefed up. You can charge at faster rates. You can charge more often at faster rates as well. And they've also updated some of the software here. So previously, the air conditioning would like take 25% out of your estimated range. Oh, there's the refreshed Kia Sorento. If I, right now it says 188 miles of range. If I turn it off, let's go, it goes to 200 miles of range. So they're estimating your range to be cut only by 12 miles instead of like 40 miles of range is what it was in the past. Like, it was ridiculous. They also updated the charge. So you get more information when you plug this car in when you're charging. It still doesn't tell you how fast it's actually charging on a level 2. I haven't tested on a level 3 because I don't recommend you buy this car if you need to actually use public DC fast chargers. They also tell you finally the percentage here, the percentage of your battery remaining. Could you believe that Toyota didn't do that? And Subaru's involved here obviously, but they didn't just let you know how much percentage of your battery is. Like, people joke around that EVs are cell phones on wheels, and every cell phone, if you want, will tell you the exact charge of your battery on your cell phone. They didn't do that the first model year. Now that it's finally there, and you can get that software update, you have to take your car, your 2023 model, for example, to your Subaru or Toyota or Lexus dealership if it's RZ to get that updated software. So with that being said, I only recommend this as a lease car, and I only recommend this as a city car. If you have to drive long distances somewhat regularly, absolutely not. There's so many, not only better EVs, but there are hybrids or plug-in hybrids or even gas models out there that are just going to have a way better peace of mind experience compared to this model. But as a city car, and for only $300-ish a month for a lease at the time of this recording, if you're in California or some other CARB states, it's actually way less because you get additional incentives by the state that you live in. Here in Florida, we don't have any, go figure, we have no additional EV tax credit incentives, which is fine by me. Still at $300 a month or a little over, I think this is a good deal for the base model. With that being said, still, even if you can get like 10 grand off of MSRP, I wouldn't be spending my money as a purchase. Only lease this car. We're gonna do a quick 0 to 60 here. I'm really impressed with this car's torque on just daily driving. And let's go ahead. I think there's drive mode. I've never messed with this button yet. Okay, it's just power. There's no sport mode. And go. There we go. Okay. 0 to 60 in 6.29 and 0 to 100 in 6.7. That's actually really good for a modestly powered EV. On paper, this has just a little over 200 horsepower. It is not impressive on paper. In rear-wheel driving, I actually really love this powertrain, more so than the front-wheel drive BZ4X. By the way, this only comes all-wheel drive. I didn't mention that already. You just have a better response, and you're never struggling for power on the front-wheel drive BZ4X. If you hammer the throttle, you could be spinning your tires due to that instant torque. I never have issues with this all-wheel drive, symmetrical all-wheel drive, whatever you call it, Solterra. I never have issues putting down that torque and power. And when I want to pass people, it's immediate, and I just feel like there's no delay, there's no waiting around. It's very zippy. And even when you throw this in the turns, it is satisfactory. With the battery pack not being that big on here, it is a fairly light EV. It's still heavy. I want to say it's over 4,000 pounds, but for an EV, it's fairly light. It does great in the turns. The steering's really, really stiff in here. It never feels quite natural turning this square steering wheel when I'm in the turns. It's not like I'm ever losing grip. It's just, you have angles in your steering wheel. It just feels strange, but the car still handles well. And if you want to have the extra flair of the square steering wheel, aren't high performance cars. I think the Corvette, I haven't driven a new Corvette, but I think the new Corvette has this more squared off steering wheel too. This car is really, really quiet. It doesn't even have acoustic glass, just standard side windows up here. Very, very quiet. Now, in the heat of the day, because I don't notice it in the morning when it's a little bit cooler, but when it's warmed up, it's hot outside, the car's definitely hotter from the beating sun here in South Florida, I get rattles, and they all come from somewhere up here in front of like my forehead. So behind the visor, kind of behind like where the sunroof control or sunshade control is, and even on the opposite side. I can't locate where the rattling is coming from, but it seems to come from multiple spots up here in the headliner area, and it drives me crazy. That might just be for this particular sample. I don't know. I never had that issue with the BZ4X, but here in the Solterra, for whatever reason, I get rattles only when it's hot out. I've been driving this car a lot this morning, maybe like 40 miles. It's 78 degrees and less, even earlier. No rattles going on. So something's going on to heat up this car. Well, the sun is heating up the car, but something's going on to make that rattle happen only when it's hot out. It's really, really bizarre. Okay, there's sensors all over this car too. So when you get close to like that Range Rover, the camera will pop up, which is kind of a nice feature. I don't mind that. That 360 camera, I'm almost positive it's only available here on this touring trim. Even with these 20-inch wheels, like literally zero tire and road noise coming through. And this is a great thing about this car. Gosh, just so much instant torque to get around people. It's an amazing city car, and I don't even have to hit the brake. I can use the paddle shifters to slow the vehicle. All right, speed back up. If I don't need regen, you can take the regen all the way off. But I found that somehow it sneakily reapplies itself to 1 bar of regen eventually. I don't know how that works, but yes, it starts up always with 1 bar of regen, and it's up to 4, which is very similar, if I remember correctly, to the Lexus RZ. The AC, I haven't noticed taking a big hit out of my average efficiency, maybe down to 4.3, 4.2 miles per kilowatt hour instead of like 4.4, 4.5 that I see with the climate control off. And I need to go where this guy is. Okay, let's go around the Avalon here. Avalone, rest in peace, Avalon. The brakes here are fantastic, very linear. You don't get any weird EV braking effect where it teeter-totters as you come to a stop. So Toyota, and I guess you could say Subaru in this case, have done a great job smoothing out the braking experience, even though it's a heavier EV. That's that front cross traffic alert that I do not like at all, but just getting out in front of traffic here, it's very, 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 very smooth, very quiet, lots of torque and power, plenty of power for the streets. A lot of people get hung up on horsepower numbers and torque numbers when it comes to EVs as well as gas cars, but this car has so much torque that I honestly don't feel like I need 300 pound-feet of torque or 320 pound-feet of torque that you see in the dual motor, let's say Ioniq 5, for example. But would I pick this over an Ioniq 5? It does some things better. I think the overall ride quality is better than the Ioniq 5. I think the handling is better than the Ioniq 5. The Ioniq 5 just charges faster, has a better interior. It looks better on the outside. Honestly, I'd pick the Ioniq 5 over this, but it comes down to lease pricing. What can I get the best deal on when it comes to lease pricing? The BZ4X and Subaru Solterra, around $300 a month, is a fantastic buy. So it does not qualify for the EV tax credit if you purchase, and again, if you're purchasing this, you must just have endless amounts of money and you're diehard loyal Subaru fan, because there are better options out there. It's not a good buy at its MSRP or anywhere close to its MSRP. $300 a month or a little over, great deal as a lease car, and that's about it. Subaru has huge plans for EVs in the United States and globally in the next few years. This thing is going to be ancient technology by the end of your 3-year lease. So definitely lease this car. There'll be so much more efficient, better, and just superior with software, charging, and range. More advanced Subaru EVs coming in the next few years. So lease this car, get rid of it after 3 years. Its value's not good on the secondhand market, and it definitely won't be in 3 years, so don't buy this car. Just lease it, and I think most people will be happy as long as you're not taking long trips in it. So did that surprise you that I'm actually recommending a Subaru Solterra? as long as you're not driving out of town much, as long as the 220 miles of city range is good enough for you, and you're able to charge at home and lease it. So anyways, I gotta shut it down there. What do you guys think down below? And let me know what EV you would pick over this. Or would you pick the BZ4X over this? It's the same car, just pick which one is a better deal. Have a great day, guys. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Subaru, thank you for sending me the Solterra. It's good to finally be able to drive Subaru's flavor of the ETNGA platform that is built in the Toyota Motomachi plant. So yeah, gonna end it there. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace.